So good to see you again today here in Dubai. So grateful to meet you again. It's been a month since the last time I saw you. Before starting this chat that we have today, I want to start by introducing you to people who might not know who you are. So you are Roslan. You are an athlete, a pro fighter, an entrepreneur, public figure. And on top of that, you are a person that motivates a lot of people. You have a personality that is, you are very disciplined. You do a lot of deep work, but on top of that, you're a very nice person. You're a person that is down to earth. You have an amazing character. You're very kind, and you have a beautiful soul. So today, I want to ask you a lot of questions that I want to ask for myself because, as you know, we were in Bali not long ago, and when I went through your retreat, I learned so much, and I want also people to discover who you are. So I'll go and ask all the questions that I have, but that also a lot of people would like to ask and know about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I think nobody could have done a better introduction than that. But I, still in my 20s, but I feel like I live different lives and different adversities, and I have the kind of experience that anybody discovers after 40 or 50 years in a lifetime. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and share my experiences so far.
So who were you before this version of Roslan that is sitting in front of me? Who were you before this?
I think I was just still discovering life. I think I didn't really know what life was about. I had to experience it. I had to see the world. I had to overcome a lot of difficulties and find out who am I in the darkest rooms when the shadows come and you just like by your own thoughts and, who are you at that moment? So yeah, I try to find answers in very hedonistic paths and doing stupid stuff, Like majority of the people, they always go on this path of discovery and they try partying, dating, ayahuasca treatments, whatever you want to call it, like so many different aspects you can kind of experiment and trying to find yourself. But the more you do, the more you discover that the answer is really simple. But you just have to find out first. You have to climb to the top and see that the top was not really all that there was and that the life is about. So yeah, before this, I was just like somebody who was completely broken and trying to fix themselves in ways that weren't really the answer. But over time, eventually you find some hidden doors.
So you talked about a lot of experiences, and I myself, went through a lot of darkness to become the woman that I am today. What is the thing that happened that cracked you up, that opened you up to be this? Like, I'm sure there was a specific moment that maybe you recall that you can share with us that was the, alarm for you to change everything and to say, okay, this is done. I need to work and become this person.
I don't believe like one moment can just change completely your whole life. I think it's an upsumming of so many different moments that you collect because you can tell somebody exactly what he has to do right now and this is the answer, but it usually takes them a little bit of time to actually discover and start believing in it. So it's definitely a round sum of many events that happened that brought me to the answer. Again, it just comes over time. You don't have one specific answer like this is it, this changed everything for me, Okay. Eventually when you come to religion, you just ask many signs. Okay, God, can you give me a sign for this and that? And the number one thing I think most people are struggling with when they're climbing to the top and they reach the top and then they forget kind of everything they prayed for, eventually you got there by getting your prayers answered. And then eventually, and it's funny because you sacrifice everything for what you want. And then the moment you get it, you trade back everything you sacrificed, So many people, they have that. And I think when you start experimenting a lot with the cosmic realm out there and God and trying to find answers through multiple different ways and just experiment with yourself rather than being ignorant and just going with this brain fog and let life happen to you, that's the moment when you find your own answers because there is no one absolute truth, right?
Absolutely.
Like many people, they have their own view on the world everything is subjective, not objective. You always have your own way of experiencing things. And they have this very funny analogy is that they had this water on a farm, and the water on the farm, it always kept on the same temperature. That was 18 degrees. And one person, he went there in the winter and the water tasted very warm. But then he went in the summer again and he tasted the water and the water was very cold. So everything in life we experience inwardly, and we cannot convince anybody that it is the truth.
Absolutely.
Because it's only your own view of the world.
Beautiful. One thing that really touched me, and I'm not going to debate too much about it, is your discipline about spirituality. I'm not going to speak about religion, but you, through your course, you taught us that this is for you a way of life, and that discipline of spiritual, your spiritual practice really reinforced your being and your, success, which happened to me as well. I'll talk about tahajjud, for example. It's something that I started and my life changed 360 after I started doing it. And right now I'm leaving the prayers that I've done before. So what would you say put you into that path? Is it something that you just grew up with, or just something that you started doing recently, for example?
I think we base our future plans and behaviors and outcomes on the early stages of our life, so between the age of 3 and 7, some events happen, and then eventually you base your experiences, future ones, all on them. And I think that majorly when I was little, I didn't really grow up with a happy family, and I didn't really see my parents until I was like 12. Didn't even know I had parents, basically. I think the moment I spent a couple years with my parents, I used to hear a lot that I'm different. And it didn't really come from the place like, hey, you're very different because you're so competent and so skilled in many ways because I'm, 12 years old. What the hell can you achieve on that level? But I think hearing that the whole time from the guilt of my parents, that you're different, got really installed inside of me and made me act on it the whole time in my life. So every time I would experience some opportunity or doubts about, can I really do this? I would hear this voice telling me like, hey, you're different. That's my programming. It all comes with programming, whatever you were, experiencing in the early age of life. And some people I can imagine they have different experiences, different events that happen and meanings that they gave to it. Like, I don't deserve love, or, I cannot escape from the rat race and I cannot become successful. But then take a moment, sit in a room and visualize yourself when you were little and try to really cut out all the bullshit, all the AirPods and social media and television and whatever you have going on, because we're in this constant distraction area. You get pulled from so many different fields. But the moment you get to sit alone with yourself and reflect and see what happens and change the meaning of it, that's when your view on the world also changes. That's what I believe.
That's beautiful. And the way you say it means like you had the call really young then.
Yeah. I think I've always been extremely different since very young off, like a lot of friends of mine and also family members, they already saw what I was kind of becoming because I was always that black sheep in between everyone, And I believed in myself so immensely. I saw it, everything that is packing out right now, the Lambos, the professional fighting, the social media blowing up, the, academy, the business, everything I saw before and I visualized for myself, I literally saw it so vividly, I could almost touch it. And I feel like everyone should do the same. I used to hear this law of attraction. When I was a nobody, I was on the bottom. I was like, what is this thing people are talking about? Like, you can see stuff before it happens. But the moment you start experimenting with it and you start installing it and you start printing it out and putting it on places where you're the majority of the day and you spend your time in, that's the moment you see those things actually pack out, And whenever you get an opportunity, you don't wait for it. You don't let it pass by because, hey, you tell yourself in your subconscious mind that you promised yourself this. So the moment you get the opportunity from here, you're going to grab it and you're going to take it. But when you didn't print out anything or write down anything, or you don't know where you're going, then you're just going to ignore the opportunity because you don't know where you're ending in life or where you want to be.
That's very impressive that you've done it. I the law of attraction, I've done it many times, and I totally agree with you. And I remember you mentioned that you had a board in front of your bed that you will see every day in order for it to happen. Does everything that you envisioned, like in the past 5 years, already happened, or everything happens very fast for you?
Way faster.
Okay.
Absolutely. Everything that I put a time frame on and I say like, I want to, achieve this in 5 years, 10 years. It comes within a year, maybe 6 months,
Wow.
In the most unexpected ways.
Yeah.
So putting a time frame and keeping the expectations real is something that you actually have to do, obviously. Okay. Like you cannot expect the Ferrari by the next day, like keep it realistic. But the time frame you put up for yourself, when you actually dedicate yourself to your craft, you give it 100%, and you cut out all the distractions, all the stuff that pull you from your purpose, it will come way faster. And they gave this analogy before, when you're in this tunnel vision, there was this guy, he put for himself $1 million by the end of the year, okay? And it was already in June. And he was grinding, and he said, like, the end of the year, I want to have $1 million. I don't know how, I don't know what, where, but I'm going to get it. And he started working, he started projects, he started focusing, he started reading self-development books, etc. Podcasts, whatever. You want to do so many different things at the same time. You want to, like, every single action, even in the smallest detail, will always result in progress, And then the moment he reached the end of the year, he kind of blasted through it. He didn't sit still. He came behind the realization that, when it came to the end of the year, he looked at the statistics and all the progress he made and his bank account, and he actually made $7 million. Oh, wow. And he was so caught up in the tunnel vision that he completely forgot where he's at. And I feel like everyone who wants to achieve something should have that. You should have that loss of, track of time. You should have that loss of presence. You should have that, tunnel vision that just like really gets you focused immensely and just, gets the stuff done. Real stress doesn't come from, building a business, dealing with problems, experiencing growth, having a lot of team. Real stress comes from not doing the work. True. When you're just like extending it for the task that that have to be done, but you just extend it in the future. You're like, yeah, whatever. And that weight is much heavier on you than actually getting the work done. But then we come down on this period of time where people just like want to be happy all the time. I want to be happy when I'm sitting behind my desk and I want to be feeling joy and this and that. But happiness will always come later after you do the actual work. It's a trade you make.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned to you when I asked you when we were in Bali that people want the quick fix, quick win right away. They don't want to put the work. They want to put the effort. Yeah. And I think it's because of social media and whatever you just said.
Envy, FOMO.
Yeah. I've followed your method. I talked to you about it. Since I came back from Bali, I'm in Dubai. I followed everything you told us to do, isolating ourselves, creating a routine where there is not distraction, but things that uplift our souls. And that's what I've been doing. And I told you in 3 weeks, I've done more than I've done in the past 5 years in all areas.
There's your answer. People want to like build a business in a storm. Rather you live in Canada or Amsterdam or whatever, change your environment. If you're doing something for the majority of the day, you're working 90% of the whole day in your 9 to 5 or your business, but you have the wrong environment, change your environment. Exactly. It's super simple.
Exactly.
You want the maximum boost that you can get for your battery to fuel it, but then you're in the wrong environment and trying to do it. So majority of people just making stuff way harder and difficult for themselves, and they're the ones suffering. No, I
think we're just very lazy as humans. We like to procrastinate and put everything for tomorrow because we're like, tomorrow, but
it seems easier, but it's not. Everyone want things without the cost, but anything that you want has a price all the time, and you have to be aware of that. You cannot wish for things and just expect them to magically happen because it's not gonna happen. You know, every single thing that you want, somebody else wants as well. And it's a bidding system. You got to trade in some hard work, some suffering, some pain, some lonely days. You have to do something.
Yeah.
You cannot just get it by accident.
And
So-
I think that this is discipline, and we can see it for people, for example, who work out. You know, like I can definitely, maybe it's a bit judgmental, but when I see people who work out and really take care of themselves, there's discipline, and you know that these people really want to achieve certain things, and they start with themselves, with their bodies. So I think it's a way of living and a way of thinking to become this person. It takes a lot of hard work, and I think unfortunately in the society we live in today, with internet, people don't want to make efforts anymore.
Yeah,
you know, we want
obviously.
everything easy, everything fast, and unfortunately few people make it. But if they followed the method where they really focus and work hard and get a discipline and a routine that really is going to be for them, then everybody, I believe, could succeed.
You know why this is happening, I think, is because everyone is just like in this short-term gratification era, you know? And they rather focus on something that they get really fast without any trade, without any effort, than something that, let me correct that. They see the experience and the feeling afterwards of the short-term gratification stuff than the hard work and the long-term stuff. Because if you actually reflect and you focus on feedback and you look at the situation and you're aware, you know, you're aware of the win that you made, you know, the success. If you analyze how you feel on that moment after a very long time and period that you stayed disciplined and in your routine and locked in, you will see that the level of happiness and fulfillment and contentment is so much higher than getting something instantly. And that's human nature. We want to work for things before we appreciate it, you know? And that's what I meant with like, you sacrifice everything for what you want and then you see it and then you just trade everything that you sacrificed back.
And do you believe that's one of the reasons why people fail in business or in general? Because we all have ideas. We all want to do something, but let's say only 1% really make it. You think it's because when we don't see the results right away, we're like, okay, fuck that. I'm not going to do it. Or
it's because we make unrealistic time frames for ourselves. It literally comes down to that. We want everything in like 6 months that majority of people take 10 years to do. And of course you're going to be demotivated. Of course you're going to give up. How do you want to build a whole Rome empire in just 6 months' time? You know, so what I wanted to say is the dream is not too big. Your expectation of when it comes is too big.
Okay.
You know, so you can dream as big as you want, but keep it realistic on when it's gonna happen, and just work your damn ass off, you know, to get it. Just put in every single thing you have in your power, and now people can really understand the joy and the fulfillment you feel when you're just doing every single thing in your power towards a certain purpose. Like, I cannot sit down now and watch some Netflix movie or TV show, you know? Like, absolutely impossible.
when
for
was
me
the last time you watched a movie?
A long time ago, you know, a very long time ago, because I'm so aware of time. And it comes up, I come back to your question before, when you said like, how did you manage to get things so fast? I think it comes majorly because of the race I have with time, you know? Not many people here are aware of the time they have in one day. 24 hours, it just goes past so fast.
So fast.
1 month goes past so fast. 1 year. You know, how many times you look back to when you were like 12 or 15 and you're like, oh my God, that was, it feels like yesterday, you know, or even 20. But if you're visualizing for yourself that you're 30, 35, 40, maybe 45, you're visualizing yourself not having achieved anything, and you're miserable, and you live in this regret. I think this is my biggest drive ever that I created for myself. And I wrote it down on my whiteboard, the one that I hanged up before my bed. I literally wrote down all the misery and things I would feel and how I would experience life when I was 40 and didn't achieve anything. And I would look back at life, oh, I wish I'd done this and this and that, you know? Then you start to act to it.
Yeah. You know, like I relate a lot to you because I'm the opposite. I'm not going to say my age, but I was really always ambitious in my life. I always knew I would do something. Unfortunately, life, you know, caught me up in many circumstances where I, you know, kind of sacrificed what I wanted to do for other things. And now I reach an age where you know, like I kind of ask questions because no matter what, humans, we set certain goals for ourselves. And I always put my goals like, okay, when I'll be 25, this is what I'll achieve. When I'll be 30. And now, one day I just woke up and I was like, oh my God, like I haven't done any of the things that I dreamed or wanted to do. And
How does that make you feel?
it made me feel sad. And that's why I started doing things like that, like going to your retreat, investing on people who are going to teach me to do things the way I'm supposed to do. People who will inspire me to become the woman that I was always supposed to be. And that's why I really say now that you said time is important. Now my time is really important. I don't
Extremely,
give my time to anybody unless you have something. You know, my time is sacred. Like I don't share my time. I don't go out. I don't party. I don't date. I don't do anything because I'm kind of catching up of all the time that I lost through the years
obviously.
to fully invest in myself. And yes, I felt sad, you know, and sometimes I still feel sad, but I transformed that sadness into drive.
Yeah.
Where now I told you, anytime I have off, I am on a downloading mode. That's how I call it. Like I'm just like trying to do anything and everything possible to become someone like you know?
Yeah. But you know, I want to counter that with something. In 15 years, there is another version of you who still didn't do anything and who feels way more regret and pain that you're feeling right now. And you got to focus on that person, not the person 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So create that version of you that still hasn't achieved anything in life, still feels the regret and 10 times more. And focus on that, because looking at the past right now, it's just time doesn't come back. There are two things you cannot buy in this world. That is time and health. You know, and you gotta like be aware of it and be smart with it. So yeah, that's where you want to focus on. So using that emotion as a drive is one of the best keys to life. You gotta like point it in some direction to make it work for you. And if you're angry or happy, some people, they use happiness, you know, they're feeling so blessed in life, and that brings them to action. And others, majority of the people, they feel anger, they feel sadness, they feel, you know, regret. To use that as your fuel to build stuff is one of the most powerful frames you can.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing, and I'm proud of me shifting things and seeing things moving slowly. You have a big presence online, you know, people. I discovered you a few years ago when I want to start to do Muay Thai. And I remember I went online and I was just typing and I saw this guy, you know, fighting and having this lifestyle. And I was like, wow, you know, and I started actually doing Muay Thai and starting to do boxing because I was going through depression and I was suffering with anxiety and I was doing yoga, meditation, but it was not helping me. This is when I discovered you. You have a big presence online. People know you. How do you live with this? How do you deal with this in a daily life? How do you, balance your relationship? How do you know who around you is real, who is approaching you because, they have good intentions? I want to know all about this.
I think staying stuck with the people who were there from the early days, that has been a major key. I tried letting in a lot of people on, the moments when you get stuff, and it's very easy to make friends when you just like bought your first supercar or whatever, But I feel like I stayed stuck to the people that were with me from the early days, and I'm not really looking for new friends anymore. At some point you got to realize that this world, eventually you're climbing to the top and you're always getting or giving something, and it's a trade with everyone, especially when you want to build your career and business and get successful, etc. It's all a trade, and everyone on the top who comes there is not really for you. It's just for all the things that are around you. So yeah, it's quite easy, like eventually, even I myself, I always measure, is this person valuable? You come on that level where you just like measure your time. And like I said, the people that have stayed with you from day one, your family, all these people around you that for a very long time are never really gonna switch on you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer. I think with time, it's really hard to select and see who is there. And I wanted to know because I myself now have, since I changed my life, have a hard time, giving my energy, space, anything and I just deal with it on a daily basis, and I wanted to know.
Do you consider yourself successful now?
No.
Okay, so the thing is, all the people that you need right now, they're gonna come when you're on the top, when you're successful. But then you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
You need them in the middle.
Yeah. About this topic, remember in Bali, I asked you one thing that I realized is, and I asked you that question, how do you deal with the fact that when you start building anything, I noticed that your people and my friends or people I thought were close to me are never supporting. And you remember I asked you this question and you told me to detach. So
You gotta detach, yeah. Because they get uncomfortable by your growth. You know, they support you in the beginning.
Yeah.
When it starts working, they're like, holy shit, it's actually packing out. And then they kind of get envy. And they're like, oh no, now I have to drag her back to my level. And you're gonna experience this the whole time. I had the whole world, all the people that I considered as friends, you know, came to me and tried to tell me that this all was a bad idea. You should have knew this, you should have knew that. You should let go of this and that. All these dreams are too big for you, whatever, you know. So many people are experiencing the same here when they're trying to work themselves up to the top.
Yeah.
But eventually, these people cannot share the same vision as you. They don't know what you're seeing. And you should always listen to your intuition and your dreams. They should scare you. There should be people around you telling you like, hey man, you know, like you gotta chill down. You know, sit on the brake a little bit. You're going too fast. And it's a very sad reality, but this is what everyone experiences. Nobody has all the people cheering for them. Like, come on, let's do it all the way to the end. It's very, very difficult to find that kind of person, you know. In some cases where it did work, it was usually in relationships. When a man had a woman who stuck by him from the beginning before he became something, and she saw potential in him. You know, she saw that. That's the only situation I can think of where you had someone cheering for you from the beginning. But a majority friends, difficult.
Yes, agreed. Talking about relationships, because, you know, we're on top this. A lot of people are curious to know about what is your view on relationships. You're a very young man in your 20s. What do you think about relationships?
I think any man watching here, you know, experiences this regret and this constant flow of hooking up with women and going to bed and feeling bad afterwards and just doing it again and again and again. And you can do that 50 times, 500 times, 5,000 times, but you don't have to go so far to realize that it's all bullshit, you know? So I think one of the most sacred thing a man has is his energy that he loses in intimacy like that, like useless intimacy that he doesn't have a connection with. I think that is his biggest life force that can bring him so far in terms of creativity, energy, luck, you know, positive attraction in whatever he wants to do. But what do I think about relationships? Relationships are like one of the most beautiful things, you know. You have a relationship with so many people, and especially when it comes to a man and a female, you know, they just have to do it correctly. That's the only thing, you know. If we're looking nowadays, you know, who has a perfect and positive and good relationship where they support each other, they grow with each other, and they build an empire and all that stuff. It's rare. It's like finding a golden egg.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? And I go back to this because you're a person, you know, you do so much work for you, or I'm talking to everybody. I think when you are, I call it the high value people, because there's people who really don't date, they don't go, you know, you don't do the basic or the regular thing that everyone does. You are really protective of your energy, of your space. You do a lot of self-work. Do you think before getting into any relationship, people need to do the inner work first, meaning that they need to get to know who they are, you know, have a vision of who they are, be honest with themselves, you know, have great values and do the entire work before committing or settling with anybody? Or
my biggest regret, and that should be the regret of everyone, is going 50% into a relationship and committing to a marriage or whatever, and then knowing deep down that there is a possibility of divorcing, you know, and then you have to start all over again. So that is my view on it, you know. Again, if it's done correctly, it can pack out really well. Yeah. You know?
A lot of us try to, you know, find like the other half that is missing or that is empty towards someone. So we put the pressure on that person. But you know, a lot of people
They usually reflect the things that they lack on the person, and they want it from the person.
Exactly. And I remember I had someone one day in my life, and I told him, "Oh my God, I love you so much. I don't know what I will do without you." And he told me, "Never say that. You need to, you know, don't tell me that, you know, like." And I have this sentence still in my head, and I realized that, you know, yes, all relationship even that I had in myself that I had before, I didn't know who I was. You know, I couldn't really do or give or be anything because I was still not the woman that I am today. So that's why I wanted to ask you about relationship, because I think it's like, you know, your body, like your mental state, you need to do deep work. You need to constantly learn and better yourself in order to attract the right people in relationship, friendship, family.
Yeah, eventually, don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't date at all. But eventually you want to like discover in that experience what the experience is about, what lessons does it bring with it. You know, so having the first partner that you meet and then just like ending up in a relationship or marrying that person can be bad in the future in terms of it's going to work against you. You know, so yeah, it's a very difficult world. Not many people can be the example these days.
So I know you are Algerian and you're also from the Netherlands. So I want to ask you, like, from what are the things from your roots, both, I would say, Algerian and from the Netherlands, that influence your values or, like, you know, influence who you are today? Is there anything from both culture that are like part of you today or not at all, or made you who you are or influenced your values?
Yeah, it is the complete opposite, you know, because I experienced so much poverty and the really, really bad side of people in Algeria. And not saying that all Algerians are bad. I have like a huge amount of love for Algerians, and I'm an Algerian until I die, and I see that myself, and I'm proud of who I am.
You
and
guys
where
are
I
so
come
proud.
From. Yeah, extremely proud, you know. But only like in terms of bad, what I mean is the level of poverty and the people that I saw, how they would survive throughout the day and with what they would survive and how they could still be extremely happy to a level that I can't even, you know, compare with somebody who's driving a Lambo, you know. They didn't have much, they didn't know much, and that's why they could be happy. But these days, you're just like happy in the future all the time, you know. You think you're gonna be fulfilled and all that stuff when you're sitting there, but it also always extends every single time. You come to that top, and then there is another top, and there is another top, you know. So it never really ends. But yeah, I think experiencing that from the young age, growing up, you know, I used to spearfish every single day and then collect the fish and go on the beach and trying to sell it so I can buy candy and give it to all the poor people in my class and school, you know, and that would really bring me fulfillment. I think real happiness is giving it away to other people. That's the way to get happy. You know, you cannot just keep happiness for only yourself, because what is there to be happy? You know, you are not a different person. You're just yourself. That's why most billionaires are very sad and depressed, because they're sitting alone in a house, sometimes without a family, without anybody, like a major mansion and just empty. You can scream and there is an echo, you know, so no children, no family, no people that you love and getting love from. But yeah, making that transition from Algeria, going to the Netherlands, you know, Amsterdam and all that stuff, you know, growing up there in school, I think is good for people. And you see this a lot with people from Afghanistan, from Morocco, from, you know, growing up, and then the rest of the years they grow up in a different country, you know, a more advanced country. The thing with that is whatever you experience there, you get to appreciate it more. Anybody who comes from poverty and grows up like that and then reaches success later on in life can always look on those days when they had nothing and be happy about it, you know? But anybody who just like got born with a silver spoon and they don't know any other side than that, they're usually the most miserable people on this planet, because they haven't experienced pain or suffering or poverty or hunger or, you know?
Or they're not grateful for whatever they have, because they don't even know or understand the luck that they have.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and if I experiencing that also sometimes, you know, when I'm just like, everything is packing out good in my life and I'm like, oh, you know, this is so good. But then still I feel sometimes a little bit down but on those moments, for example, yesterday I was in the car, I stopped at the gas station with my car, and then I was a little bit, down on that moment. I was like, why am I feeling down now? Everything is going perfect, alhamdulillah. But then on that moment, I closed my eyes and I started visualizing myself having a car accident, bleeding out with my leg being off. There is an ambulance next to me. They're, basically telling me that you have a couple hours to survive. You're about to die. You're bleeding out completely. And then I brought myself and I opened up my eyes again and I saw that I was perfectly fine, healthy, in a beautiful car, going to a beautiful apartment and just here in Dubai, completely safe.
Yeah.
And that switched my whole mood. I became so happy on that moment. When that gas guy came, I just switched from moody to very happy. He's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? But I feel like if everyone can do this trick, because I do believe you can change your mood. I do believe you can take control of your mind.
I agree with that. There's one thing I do. I do a lot of self-talk, like mirror. I always wake up and I'm like, today I'm going to be happy. And I smile and I keep saying it, today I'm going to be happy. And there was a joke in my team at work. They come to the office, we sit down, they're like, okay guys, today we're all going to be happy. And I really stay happy the entire time because I wire my brain and my body to have that energy through the day.
Yeah, it's a good exercise, and you always have to pretend something in order for it to happen. It's crazy. That's how life works, Even when you're trying to sleep, you close your eyes, you pretend you're sleeping, and then you actually fall asleep. And the same thing you can do with becoming happy, becoming excited for something, getting prepared. Comes down to the flow state.
Yeah.
That's also a different part of it. Many people don't know how to enter the flow state and anchor certain movements to get things in life, And with you saying to yourself, I'm happy, this is going to be a very happy day. Probably 9 out of 10, it worked, right?
Yeah.
So your mind is already believing okay, if I say this is the outcome, and it will act towards it. So creating an anchor like that, it can be very powerful, and everyone should do the same, For example, if I'm about to enter the ring and I have a big sparring session with multiple champions in there, I have a certain routine that I do for 20 minutes before that gets me into that flow state. If I jump into it immediately from my car to the ring, I won't be in the flow state. I wouldn't be performing as I usually do because I'm missing pieces that I always put for myself. John Jones talks about this as well, the UFC champion. He says that he found a way how to enter flow state from the first second of the round. Majority of all UFC fighters and also champions on the planet, they can only enter the flow state after the first round, the second round. They get used to it, all the nerves are gone, they finally get in touch with their own self, their mind, and they find the flow state, and then they perform the best. Even if you're gonna sit now alone in a room, there in the room, you're without camera, okay, with yourself. And then you come here in front of the camera on social media, for example, and you make so many mistakes.
Yeah, you lose control.
That is the flow state. You did something inside of that room that you're not implementing here. Now you're rather focused on the judgment and all the people that are watching and what they're gonna think and their perspective. That's how majority of all comedians and people on TV shows like Piers Morgan or whatever, talk. They lose perception of people. They do something so much and so many times that it becomes not extremely easy, but also not extremely hard. And they can find a flow state in between.
Oh, wow. So do you think it's something that we need to practice? Like, is it something you practice?
100%. You got to practice, but also you have to reflect.
Okay.
Because you can practice something 10 times and be a master in it, or by reflecting all the time, or do it 1,000 times and just being foggy and, asking yourself, not even asking yourself what happened, That's why some people, they're 20 years old doing sales for 3 years, closing people on calls or closing people at the door. And they're asking themselves, oh shit, how could I close this guy? They're getting training for all sides. They're reflecting. They're watching their videos back. What did I do in the video? In 3 years, they can speak better than someone who's been talking for 50 years.
True. How did you start fighting? You're great fighter. You're pretty still young. So I feel sometimes when...
Only in this realm.
Like, when did you start, and how did you manage to do all of these together?
At the same time, yeah. It's a pattern that you don't see nowadays. That's why I'm so focused on creating the most unique persona, because I know the competition is so extremely high. There's so many rich people, there's so many champions, there's so many, but there isn't really somebody with a mixture of all these things, you know? And I know I'm gonna become champion, and I know I'm gonna be extremely wealthy and getting to the billion and this and that. I believe in myself, I believe in my creator, you know? Firstly, my
you need to create an academy on teaching people all these skills.
yeah, I actually do.
No, I mean, like, all of it at once, you know, getting the 1%, putting them somewhere, and
yeah, and that's what most people don't understand. It is so extremely difficult to come to the 1% because everyone is extremely good in something.
Yeah.
Then now you got to be extremely good in multiple things to get to the 1%.
Yeah. And
you know?
and it's funny because, you know, when you want to do something, people usually tell you, okay, listen, you need to niche down. Don't put yourself in everything because you're going to fail. But you are the proof that you
can do multiple
you excel in
things.
everything. Like, everything you touch becomes gold. So there's a way, I think you just mastered discipline. Like, you wired your brain, body, everything to become that person. And I think it takes a lot of strength in this time and age and like, to be the way you are. Like, I mean, I traveled a lot and I've met successful people, but people who are very dedicated, not a lot. So I think you should really, really be proud of yourself. And for me, it's beautiful to be able to, you know, meet people like you, because it shows us that it's possible. You show the world and everyone, and women and men, not only men. This is what is beautiful. That's why I'm sitting here with you, because I met you when I saw you years ago, and I never envisioned that I would meet you. And in 1 week, you changed my mindset, and I came back, and in 3 weeks, I achieved more than 4 years. So that's why
it's a good mastermind.
Yeah, it is amazing, honestly. Like, I think, you know, it was Bali, everything, but you're doing great, and it's really good to see that this is possible.
And that comes down to what you just said, being proud. You should be you should be proud of yourself. And that's the only focus you should have. You know, you cannot focus on being happy and, you know, experiencing joy and all this stuff on this journey. You just want to ask yourself, how do I want to feel on the end of this day? You know, and that comes to all the tasks that you had to finish this day. Because if you don't finish them, you're going to feel unfulfilled and miserable. You're going to go with shame inside of your bed and sleep.
Yeah.
And you're going to drag that with you the next day again. So again, visualization. Every single time, ask yourself, how are you going to feel on B and C, point D? How are you going to feel there? And when you focus on that, you're going to change a lot of behaviors, which you usually do in a day. Our mind, if you're going to do something, you know, stepping inside of the ring, you're about to get unconscious, or in front of a stage and so many business entrepreneurs, or you're about to launch a new brand or business, or going in front of the camera, anything. Your mind will think that you will die all the time. That's it. You just think of the worst scenario, because your brain is designed to survive and not to grow. And I found a way that you can visualize the outcome, the worst outcome, every single time, and then realize that it's not that bad, you know?
Okay.
And that's a method you can use to always perform in whatever you want to do, you know? We always think we're going to die in certain scenarios, and it's not true. You got to build this habit of always jumping into whatever scares you. And when you do that, you build this extreme confidence that you can just do anything, and your subconscious will take you more seriously. So back to Albert Einstein, inversion thinking. Write down 15 things that you're doing on a daily basis that are absolutely ruining your life every day, you know? Write it so detailed, and you're going to find that your brain can find these things so easily and so fast, because it's in the negative aspect. When you say write down 15 positive things, you're going to experience some difficulties, because our brain is not designed it that way. It's only designed to survive and find negative things. And now when you have those things written down, the 15 bad things you're doing every day to ruin your life, you know the opposite. You create this awareness. And
So
it
you
all
work
starts
towards
with
it.
awareness. Yeah.
That's why I think journaling is important, and I used to do it because I would write every morning, like the thing that I'm grateful for, that I'm happy, that I want to achieve through the day. And at night I reread and see what I've done, what I haven't done. So by the week I see the patterns that are coming up, what I'm doing that is not working, what I'm not, and I keep working back or forward.
I find it extremely difficult now to journal. I used to do that in the early stage, you know, a lot, to understand my mind and the way I think and where I'm heading, etc. The things I want to work on. But at some stage, you kind of discovered it. You kind of found the key to all the things that you've been dealing with, and you know exactly what to do to achieve whatever you want. And I'm now a little bit on that stage, to be honest.
And how did your routine change? Like, do you have a specific routine that you do on a daily basis, or it's just on the way when you wake up, how you feel?
And what stage? That's the thing most people do. They ask someone on the top on what they're doing on the top, but they shouldn't.
Okay.
They should ask someone on the top what they were doing on their level, in their stage in life.
Okay, so for anyone who wants to start, you know, just being a little bit disciplined, that want to create a brand, that want to start a business eventually.
They can go to someone who's on the top and ask them what they were doing on their stage of life. If I'm someone who's 20 years old, I'm in school, high school, I'm not seeing any future in that, and I want to start my own business, and you know, I'm really finding difficulties with judgments of people, I would go to someone like me or somebody else who's successful in life, or even you are way further ahead in life than where he is right now. He can ask you, how did you get rid of that when you were on my level, you know? And then you can give him a clear answer because you went through it. But if that person comes to you and tells you, hey, how did you manage to live now in Dubai and just like, you know, build your empire? It's difficult. You gotta take that advice because your advice now will not help him on the stage of life where he is.
True. Good advice. That's why I think through the years, you know, when I was trying to learn my spirituality, I used to take different coaches and I realized that we are all different. Things work for us differently. You need to just try a little bit of everything until you find the thing that works for yourself.
Absolutely.
You can pick and choose, do all the, you know, exercises, everything you want to, but what works for someone doesn't necessarily work for you. So that's why for me, there's no perfect morning routine or skincare or whatever. For me, this is bullshit.
For me also.
Yeah, it's just...
Absolutely. All these people are praising like, you got to do this and this is the $1 million routine.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
No.
When you're building something with urgency and speed and you want to get it done by a certain date, you're going to sacrifice everything around you. Obviously, there is a side of treating your body good, eating the right stuff, you know, managing your sleep. Obviously, that is the baseline.
Yeah.
But having a certain routine that you're exactly doing that in this way, you know, like most people just like relocate to Bali and they just like create this routine and think that that's gonna make them, you know, a multi-millionaire or something. It doesn't exist because if you're building something, it's different.
I think that's the thing we do to convince ourselves that we're doing right. And I did it for so many years, like, you know, trying to think that I was doing it right. And then after I realized that I was all wrong. And now I just go intuitively. I listen a lot to my intuition, and this is something I want to talk about. And I just do whatever I feel like, depending on the days. There's months where I'll focus more on my spirituality, some more on my discipline. Sometimes my body just needs to relax. So I just really like, you know, rest and stop that rush. But I think in this age, like people are all, again, trying to find a quick fix, quick win. Okay, I want to try his routine. But you brought a good point. The way you are today is a lot of work. It's also many years of thing that we cannot, the only thing that everyone should do is...
And it's hard. It comes down to it's hard.
Yeah.
Most people, they think it's easy. They see you out there and they think, oh, this is such a beautiful life. I should have that.
Yeah.
And then they start and they find out that it's not coming as fast as they thought. And they're like, oh shit, it's not as easy as I thought. But that's the whole point. It was never easy.
Yeah, and this is where things are wrong. It's because people go online, they see your photos, you're traveling, you're having the life, but they don't see behind the scenes, the hard work that you put, your sacrifices, that not going out, not, you know, putting yourself in that monk mode and just working or isolating yourself, creating. And people just see the day you go fight. I don't know where I saw
They
that.
see the highlights.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of social media. You go there, compare yourself to all these beautiful people with their beautiful life. Maybe one picture out of the 100 pictures was one picture where they were smiling.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I wish I had a life like that. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
This whole era, this whole social media stuff, like it was never like that before.
Yeah.
Before you could actually enjoy in the moment, but now you rather live in this want to envy others than actually living. You know?
Exactly. But for me, social media, I think it's a great outlet and tool today to, I don't go online and look at people who don't influence me in a positive way.
Yeah.
If you're not teaching me something, or you're not bringing a positive something,
a positive outcome, a positive message. Obviously, if you have a knife, you can either kill someone or you can cook a nice meal. And the same thing with social media. How are you going to use it? One day, it's me too. I unfollowed all people. Literally, even the closest family members, I unfollowed.
I still didn't do
to
this.
Zero. And then I started following maybe 100 or 200 people that actually brought a certain amount of value, And then, that's how you do it. That's how you make something so dangerous work in your advantage.
Yeah. What is like something that people have wrong about you online? They see you, whatever, but what is the thing that you believe everyone or people might have wrong about you?
Until this day, I didn't really experience anything from people. I didn't hear like, I thought you were this way or that way. I think I present myself very transparent and authentic on social media, and I don't present myself as anything else. I think I want to be a very positive influence and just like showing what I stand for and who I am, and not being afraid to be vulnerable, At some point, you kind of get to know and discover that most people, they see a reflection in your vulnerability.
Of course.
And they get more inspired.
And do you think this is because of your masculinity? You're like, okay, I'm not, I'm a man, I should not show because I need to show that I'm,
Yeah, but that doesn't mean like men are not emotional.
No, I know, but
that's the whole thing. There's this fake
is,
masculinity.
Exactly. That's what I want to
say.
Yeah.
They're like, if you're a man, you cannot show emotions and this and that. And, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But I do think that as a man, you have to control your emotions. You got to be aware of them. You got to point them in a different direction than just like being a victim role or whatever, and use it.
What is the legacy that you want to build or you want to create?
I want to achieve anything that comes on my path. And the thing is, every 10 years it changes. When you're in your 20s, you work so hard for the things you want in your 30s. And then once you reach them in your 30s, you create new goals and new plans that you want for in your 40s. And then when you're in your 40s, you create new plans for when you're retired on your 50s. And then every single time, it's just like a cycle like that. And you never get to really, be in a moment where you can enjoy your legacy. But what is legacy? To be honest, I do believe legacy is a word for ego, because it doesn't really matter. Eventually you're dead. Nobody's gonna think about you like, this guy was a big legend and this and that, because you're not here anymore.
True.
I do believe that you shouldn't waste your time, and that you should absolutely take every single thing that is hard in life and implement it and overcome it and enjoy the fruits after. I think if you're not in the 1% as a man or even female, you get to suffer a lot in this world. And you get to experience not life,
I asked you prior, like when you were a kid, I always see that photo of you. What were the things that made you happy as a kid? What was the thing that if I call your mom or dad tomorrow, I'm like, okay, hi, can you tell me, what are the moments that you recall of you when you were a kid that made you happy? Do you have any idea? What are the things, activities or whatever you were doing?
I think sports.
Sports?
Yeah. I was always like really into sports. I competed in calisthenics, competed in fighting, started Taekwondo when I was actually like 9 or 10. Judo when I was 7.
So you were always a fighter.
Always kind of a fighter, And I really enjoyed that. I think, that kind of distraction is the only kind of healthy distraction you have. you know, and you can get, because if you don't have that, you're gonna find different distractions. We're always kind of addicted to something, you know, in life, and it can rather be a good addiction or a bad one. But yeah.
So
overall
since a young
sports.
age, you were already in sports. So you think that's why you are into, like, you're an athlete, pro fighter today? Is it because it's still you have your inner
Yeah, because
child with you?
especially fighting, you know, I discovered this is like a way of life, and you carry it in business, you carry it in your personal life. It is also the evidence you need to be confident as a man these days. And it's just like a justification that you can face anything. You know, there is nothing on this planet that is worse, where you can step into a ring, risk your life, you know, overcome that, win, and then come out of it, and that you cannot handle, you know, because it's different than you're a basketball player. It's different than when you're a footballer or whatever, you know, like you're not risking your life there. You can just like go home, back to your happy family, have a nice meal. But when you're a fighter, you can actually die.
And
you can
there's a lot of boxers that, you know,
Yeah.
have brain damages and
Yeah,
went to the
100%.
ring, like that Mexican guy, I forgot his name, who got beaten and he lost
Yeah, he lost his
completely.
whole. I saw that.
So
video.
it's,
Yeah.
you're never scared of, you know, going into the ring and
No, I don't believe in fear, to be honest. Neither depression or anxiety. I don't really believe in all these
so
things.
what's your secret? Tell us. I know mine is something, but I want to know what is the thing that you do to why you're not anxious or have fear.
Because I translate anxiety or depression into excitement.
Okay.
You know, and even though I'm aware that I'm feeling some level of anxiety, you don't want to get rid of that, because that's the only thing that pushes you towards your goals.
Okay.
I tried to get rid of all the feelings that I was having before starting, all these doubts, all these, you know, fear of not making it later on. But then eventually now I discovered and I realized you don't want to get rid of it, because that's the only thing that brings you to this level.
Okay.
And most people, when they try to work on that and, you know, bring it to a very low level and all that stuff, it's a very wrong way to look at it. A lot of fighters also, they lose this along the preparation. I think preparation for anything, if you're working every single day and you're progressing towards your goals and all that stuff, you won't really feel anxiety. You don't feel, you know, scared for the future plans and all that stuff. But if you just have to do everything you can, and there's nothing more than that. I used to always like focus on perfection, and this has to be perfect before I launch it, and that has to be perfect. But the thing is, there is no perfection. There's only excellence. You can do excellence by giving it your all, but you cannot make something perfect. You know, the only one that can do that is our Creator, and that's already the you know, answer that we are already perfect. So,
you know, I try to understand this way of thinking. I'm going to take it, digest it, and try to see how I can implement it in my life, because a lot of us deal with anxiety today, and
of course,
and anxiety, stress, depression. Me, that's when I started fighting, because I was like, not fighting, but boxing, because I was like releasing all the negative energy or feelings that I had.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I changed that. Instead of staying in my bed and overthinking, I was putting all my time and energy towards a new sport that actually, and now I was like, why the hell I didn't start young? And I was like, if I have a son one day, he's going to be fighting since he's a kid. Because
Absolutely.
I also noticed that
It develops you.
so much. Like I was always like into meditation, whatever, sports since I'm young. My mom was always, I played tennis, any sports now, swimming, but never into fights. And I starting, you know, going to boxing clubs and being around fighters in the past years. And they definitely have a different mindset.
Very different.
Very different mindset. And it's funny because when you see them, you don't even know that they're fighters, you know?
Yeah. That's what science has proven as well. Like 2 out of 3 successful people, usually millionaires, they have this in common. They either have a military background or a professional sports background, you know, 2 out of 3 people. And why is that? Because it teaches discipline. It teaches consistency. It teaches detaching from the outcome. I remember when I had the vision board for myself, I wrote down, failure will never overtake you if your determination to succeed is big enough. So the moment you give up failure and you get obsessed with failure and you're like, hey, this is a stepping stone towards my goal, then your complete life view and your outcome of things will change. Because life will never win against someone who is willing to fail all the time.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
it will only win towards someone who takes failure as an objection, as a barrier to give up or to slow him down. You know,
And that's how I was, and I'm trying to change now that I always lived in fear. You know, I realized that I was putting things or not doing things because I'm always fearing something. And when I changed the way I'm thinking, and you know, especially with Hamid, he kind of told me like the things that I was doing wrong. First I said like, if I believe in God, I should not fear anything because you know I get things, but definitely changed the mindset, and it definitely helps a lot.
but where does fear come from? So false evidence appearing real, but it also comes with confidence. And you cannot fake confidence. Then you have to discover, where does confidence come from? I was the most insecure man before. You know, like, super. You have no idea. I used to stutter all the time. I used to be so living in the thoughts that I had of somebody else's thoughts. Do you
Which is
understand?
crazy, because this is a prison of and I think, how did you overcome this, and how do you think it helped you to
I
become?
started studying confidence. How are some people so extremely confident on it?
Is there a book?
There is not one way, like I said previously. There is not one way. There are multiple ways. What I discovered is that confidence comes from evidence, everything that you created, everything that you achieved in life. Confidence comes from adversity, all the things that you overcame, and you know how much you can endure in terms of pain,
That's a
in
good
terms of
point.
suffering.
Yeah.
Confidence comes from, how long are you willing to look stupid in front of somebody? There comes confidence. And the last one is, confidence comes from doing an extremely hard thing every single day. You know, in the beginning of your day. And then the rest of your day, you're just like gonna go through it so extremely confident. Because you know 99% of the people on this planet
Won't do it.
haven't done the same thing as you in the morning.
Yeah.
So how you start your day is how you end it.
Yeah.
So
Good.
these four things, that I think they're very worth it to experiment with for yourself to find confidence. And the fifth one I will add myself, confidence comes from faith. You know, some people, they feel like, I'm so connected to God, I'm giving myself over, He's gonna guide me.
Yeah.
And they actually perform on that.
That's how I've been myself. Like, I think faith definitely changed me. It all, my entire everything, and I feel, I don't know. That's why I say my morning routine is really important. My prayers in the morning makes me, you know, when I do all the things, not doing it because I expect something, but doing it with love, I feel like I can conquer anything in the world. Like, there's nobody who can stop me because I protected, you know.
Now that's working for you.
Yeah, of
But
course.
what if someone is looking here who's an atheist, who doesn't believe in anything?
That's why I
Besides
said
the other things.
Yeah, so that's why I say everyone needs to, because I was not I never practiced really before. I tried everything, traveled the world, went to India many times, you know, to find that little balance. But I think it's through experience, through age, through failure, through sadness, through like heartbreak, and that I discovered what is good for me. But it took me years of trying different things to find finally what makes me, and who knows, sorry, in 1 year how it's going to be. So you have to constantly evolve and learn and try things that will make you thrive and make you better and make your soul alive and on fire. You know, you can't stay on one thing. And
Exactly. There's only your journey.
Yeah.
And that's what most people misunderstand, is because they think one journey for this guy, I want to be like this guy or this woman, and I should just do the exact same thing as them. But there isn't anything like that. You just follow your own journey, and you want to create your own experiences. How many times somebody said like, hey, you should not go here because this is how it is. And then you go there and then you find a complete different experience, you know? So that's the answer. Just like experiment so much with your own path and what you think is best, and just trying to take from everyone just tiny bits and create your own path.
Yeah. Do you think like today, do you think branding, creating like a persona or like is important for people?
Of course.
For you know, to be able to build something? Do you think the starting the baseline is starting with the brand, or creating something that will lead you,
On social media, you mean?
Yes.
Attention economy.
Okay.
Nowadays, attention is the most valuable
How you
thing.
call it?
Attention economy.
Okay.
You know, like now we're all looking at status, how many followers this guy has, how many people are listening to this person, how many people are liking this. You know, it's funny because nowadays it's even more valuable than money in some situations. You know, and that's the whole thing. When you have a platform like that, you can convert it into money, you can convert it into network, you can convert it into access to certain things and having a whole team and people that stand for what you say, and you can point them in a direction. So I think, yeah, everyone should jump into it. Why not? It will develop you so much, and also you get to be seen, you get to be heard, you get to be sharing the way you think and connect also with people that think the same way.
Yeah.
You
Agreed. And I think it's really important for people to start, you know, whatever you have in mind or you believe in, you should just do it. How did you grow your social like media? Was it, I as I told you, I saw you on, what was the moment of your career or your social media presence that made you boom? What was the thing?
I knew who I was and I shared that. That's it.
Okay.
A lot of people, they're trying to copy and paste everyone on social media and trying to be like someone, and you know, without actually presenting who they are and what they stand for. I think that's it. I just showed so much of my own personal brand, of my personal self, and that blew up, you know, and I wasn't scared or afraid to share that. Even if some scenarios were kind of cringe, you got to go through that a little bit, right? Like that cringe part where people are like, huh, what is this person doing right now? You know, like doesn't really fit. But there's no other way than going through that, because you have to discover what you can do better the next time and the next time. And that comes down to the fourth principle that I told you about. Ability to look stupid for a very extended period of time. You got to master that, because that's the only way to come to the highest, you know, essence of life. So yeah, be prepared to get laughed at. Be prepared.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
look stupid.
And at the end of the day, we should not care about what people think, because, as you said, the day you will be on the top, they will be coming.
Yeah, they'll be forgotten. They'll be on the bottom. They'll be like trying to get access to you. They'll be, you know, it doesn't really matter anymore. These thoughts that you're getting of all these judgments and people's perspective, in 5 years, they're not there anymore. Probably tomorrow, they're not there anymore. You know, and everyone will try to drag you down. Everyone will have an opinion. But it is the test for you if you're willing to break through it or stay behind it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do, to be honest, because I had phases in my life where I was more into fashion and I stopped, and I always feared, you know, like how people think about me, but now I don't care. Like I know deep down I have this voice, and I know that there's things that I need to do and that I'm supposed to do, my why, my purpose, that I'm trying and working towards every single day. I put like some time on it, and it took me a long time, you know, to become the woman I am. I'm very confident. I'm very strong in my mind. Today, to be able to shake me or like to affect me, it's going to be hard, because I've done so much mental work, spiritual work. I've done so many things that, you know, I can be. But I, again, as I said, I do the work, but at the same time, I get to invest in mentors or people or trainings that leads me to keep believing. And that's why I think people like you, like Hamid and other, you know, my teachers help me, because if you listen to that dark or that voice that keeps, you know, you will never do anything. You talk a lot about intuition. How did you develop that? Like, how did you start really trusting your intuition? Because
so back to what you just said real quick. You know, most people, they're trying to do everything on themselves. You know, they try to invent the wheel. They're trying to like discover even YouTube or free material or just try something one time and give up. But I think the fear of not progressing that fast and that kind of speed with somebody who's already there, like a mentor or a mastermind or whatever, you know, something face to face with someone who's already there. The fear of not progressing as fast by yourself than with this person should scare you to death, because you're wasting so much time to go from A to B.
Yes.
And I'm very aware of that. you know, I read this book, Who Not How, and it changed my trajectory on life in many ways. I think many people, they're just like, how can I do this? You know, how can I do that? I'm just confused. How will not solve and get you the answer. You know, the who. There's always somebody on this planet that has the answer for you. So whenever you occur a problem or a difficulty or a solution to, you know, a business that you're trying to run, there's always someone that you can find, and it starts with who. So even those people trying to climb, you know, from wherever they're starting, try to find out for yourself, who can I start with? And even if that person is not the right person, by just discovering that he's not the right person, will get you already to the right person as the second one. If the second one is not the right person, you went through that, two people who were not the right person, you will get the third time lucky.
And do you think we should just like, when you want to learn something from someone, do you think we need just, for example, I would say, there's some woman that inspires me. I like the way she, you know, doing her business. You think you should just reach out to the person, give it like...
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Just do it. You know, you have nothing to lose. That's the thing. When you haven't built anything in your life, you don't also have anything to, you know, sacrifice. You got to realize that, especially in the beginning age, when you're just starting with this path and all the things that you're trying to develop. Again, there's nothing to lose. Just fail as many times as you can, even if you hear that all the time.
But sometimes you're scared to get rejected. Like, for example, you reach out that person, oh, why would I give my time to this person? She's a nobody, you know? So...
But you'll never find out until you try.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Sometimes you do it and you're like, holy shit, this person responded completely different than how I expected. Everyone builds this statue and this idea in their head and think that every single experience will go like that. And that's the survival brain. That's the negative aspect of it, where it's just like thinks it will die at that moment, but you won't. You always have to jump into things that scare you the most, and eventually it becomes a habit.
Yes. So it's constantly training your mind that you can do it.
Yeah. Constantly, just doing it all the time.
Yeah, and do the things that are hard, like you said, training, working out. Because
you're sacrificing way more by not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you will regret it after we started the conversation with it.
Yeah, and I'm so aware of the regret. I even name it up. I even like start talking to myself, and I'm like, shit, this is how I feel now after not doing this thing that I know I should have done. Yeah. And I don't want to feel this way anymore. Yeah. And then eventually you start tackling every single situation like that. Yeah.
This is a new thing that I'm doing as well. I'm like, we're not gonna push something that I can do today to tomorrow. Yeah. Like this is my, you know, new one of my new goals. Like every time I'm like, oh, Tina, you're tired, do it tomorrow. But now I'm like, no, don't don't push something I can do now to tomorrow.
I use this trick which is called the enemy self. So you have this other person of you, different version in a different multiverse, maybe somewhere else. And this Butaina is absolutely crushing it in life. She's doing every single thing, you know, that she can. And she's not scrolling on social media. She's not watching Netflix. She's not getting distracted by guys. She's not, you know, she's always pursuing her purpose and the things she wants out of life. So every time you feel like you're slacking or you want to take a moment to chill down and watch some TV, think of this person, the other version of you, that is always striving and crushing each day like it's their last. And that's the only person you want to compare yourself to. Because comparing yourself to all these other people, they have completely different paths and journeys.
Absolutely.
Why would you? You know, everyone is just trying to, and these people, they're trying to envy you anyway, you know? All these people going to parties, they're just like snapping themselves, making videos. I'm at this party, oh, I'm having a great time. But why are they doing that? If you really had a great time, you wouldn't even snap that.
That's true.
You wouldn't even make a video.
That's true.
But now we're living in a period of time where you just like want to show people how much fun you have instead of actually having fun. And that's the dangerous part of it. So it's you versus you. It comes down to that.
And this is what I'll take from our conversation, discipline. Which I've been doing, you know, since we met. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because at the end of the day, it's just the work that you do. There's no miracles. There's no quick solution. There's nothing. It comes to how much you love yourself and how much you're willing to sacrifice and work towards your goal. And that's what I learned with you guys, I told you when I came back, I was just a different person. And I can see today how the opportunities are coming to me without even me. It's like you guys, I was there, but you guys just like, gave me the card and like, okay, finish it,
And it was just the first stepping stone.
And, I'm so happy about this experience, and I'm looking forward to see where I will be in a few years. And
Same.
I started my vision board a while ago.
Yeah.
To end this conversation, where is a place that you've been recently, and you had like a beautiful moment and something that really detached you from your daily base? I don't know if you traveled or somewhere that really made you happy.
There was on 8.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying this because I want to like show people that I'm doing charity and all that stuff, because I do it so many times and I never posted it and I never talked about it. But this is the most recent moment that I can remember that got me in the present moment and I got to enjoy and really like disconnect. Is when I was on 8, they had this charity moment where they were like handing over 6,000 meals to poor people here in Dubai.
Wow.
Who actually built Dubai, and yeah, on that moment, I actually felt disconnected, just feeling their emotion, seeing that one piece of meal like this small meant more for them than having a beautiful house or status or a social media presence or just like traveling the world or whatever. That meant so much for them. And I think that was the only moment that,
And this is beautiful, because I think when we're leaving a certain way of life, it's always good to go back and also look around and see like how blessed and lucky you are, but also see how much you can impact and help people who are in need. People who build Dubai, but nobody pays attention to them. But you take out of your time to go and do a beautiful gesture.
And I feel like everyone should do that. And there's this rule, the 6 human needs, and contribution is one of them. So it starts with...
The one that we need to...
you have to surpass. So every single period in your life, you lack something. And there are 6 human needs. So the first one is growth. Second is contribution. Third is significance. Fourth is certainty, uncertainty, and connection.
Yeah.
So these 6... we always live by them. We always go through them in life. So for example, if I isolate myself now for 5 days, I will experience massive growth, tremendous, so much growth in my business, in myself, in things around me, right? But after 5 days being isolated and experiencing that, you lack something else. You lack connection.
Yeah.
Then you got to go out, have a nice dinner with some friends or maybe your partner or whatever, Then you had that once. And now you need significance maybe, or you need contribution.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a nice meal and you think of all the people that didn't have a nice meal. And then you got to go there and feed some poor people, people in need.
Yes.
And then eventually you come back to the growth. And just to mention the certainty and uncertainty. I'm saying that because we also live by that all the time. If things are too certain in your life and you know exactly how the next days are going to pack out and what the outcome is, you get bored. That's why most multi-millionaires and billionaires kind of commit suicide, because they get bored. They achieved anything in life. But then when you have uncertainty, you also get a little bit excited about life. When things pack out, you're more happy about them, and there should be a balance in between. So it should be uncertain, but also certain. And these 6 things, you just want to go through them. Significance, we all need to be seen. We all need to be heard.
Yes.
Like if you're always listening to somebody and never get heard for your own thoughts or your own experiences, you also lack that. Can be also with social media presence, maybe. Sometimes I make a video and I post it, and then so many responds on it. It kind of makes me feel good. Like I cannot go around it like most people. Why are you doing it then? And going through these stages, 6 needs that you need, just observing what you lack at that moment is.
I think that's a great thing. I think we need all after this conversation. I mean, to write those 6, because I know we did it, and this is what I realized that I was doing wrong in my life, and it started the click about uncertainty and having all that fear, anxiety coming. So I think these 6 points that you just talked about are very important. And I think we should monthly or, every 3 months, 2 months, look at them and see how we, where we are in life and what are the things that we need to prioritize, things that we need, things that we're lacking, and put our lives around it, because sometimes I think we forget what's essential, and we forget what we should be doing or what we need as humans, because we're so caught up with everything around that we forget to really focus on what is essential.
We're not aware. But I'm going to change the 6 human needs. I'm going to call it the circle of life.
Yes. Yes. And I like, I'm like, shit, I forgot about this, and I need to put it back again. And because I know that when I was doing it, I had a hard time like picking which one was priority for me and which one. And then after I did the exercise, I realized that I actually picked some wrong, because I thought that was what I was doing, but I was wrong. So
even now, if you're locked in for 2-3 months in Dubai, you're now 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
After 2-3 months, you're gonna feel some side effects. You're like, okay, something is wrong.
Yeah.
You cannot be growing the whole time, your whole life. You
Yeah.
cannot be performing the absolute maximum achievement in so many things every single day.
Yeah.
At some point, you gotta variate. You gotta go through all these needs and listen to
absolutely.
what you lack.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Butena, thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure, Roslan. Honestly, like it's such a blessing to have this conversation with you, have all the questions, answers, and to be able to learn from you, because you are someone that is very inspiring, and I think you give hope to people that when we work hard and when we believe in ourselves and when we cut up the noise around, and when we put the effort and we surround ourselves with the right things and the right tools and people, we can make it. And this is something beautiful, because a lot of us are lost, don't know where we're going. But when we have people like you around us, we are like, okay, we can do it. So thank you so much for inspiring me, but everybody. And I'm sure a lot of people will love this conversation that we had today.
For sure. We're just sharing the manual of life.
Yes, exactly.
The pieces of it.
And when we will have more, again, we'll sit down here, or maybe somewhere in Miami or in the Netherlands or in Morocco, inshallah.
Yeah, who knows?
And see and talk about what changed in the months that we, thank you so much.
We're changing every day. You're welcome.
Thank you.